Good afternoon and welcome to City Speaks. City Speaks is a show that was a vision of Mayor Rosas. Mayor Rosas is committed to transparency, to communication, and to open lines of communication, not just with the city employees, but with our residents as well. So City Speaks is for you, the residents of the city of Dunkirk. If you have questions, comments, concerns, send them to me. Let me know what you think, and I'll get answers for you. Send them to me at vwestling@cityofdunkirk.com. Mail them to City Hall, 342 Central Avenue, City of Dunkirk 14048, or drop them off at the City Clerk's office, and we'll get the answers for you. Today we had scheduled to have our chief water treatment plant operator, Bob Laurie, and our water maintenance supervisor, Rob Curry, on. But due to production scheduling and a demand to have Mayor Rosas back, we have moved their show to the following week. So this week we're happy to have Mayor Rosas. Mayor Rosas, this is your second trip to City Speaks. Thank you for coming and welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Well, you're quite welcome. There is so much going on in this city. I mean, it is just booming, everything. There's just all the energy, all the positive that's happening. And that is because of you and your administration and the team that you have surrounded yourself with. So kudos to you for that. Let's talk a little bit about one of the most exciting things that's happened in a long time. We had the Race World Offshore Boat Race this past weekend, and everything was packed. From Cedar Beach, the Point, the Lighthouse, Lakefront Boulevard, the pier. How did you bring all of that off?
Well, the Race World Offshore Grand Prix boat race was a major event, and again, I have to give credit where credit is due. And the credit is due to our special events coordinator, Hector Rosas. We sat down about a year ago and tried to figure out what we wanted to do. We knew we wanted to showcase our waterfront. We knew we wouldn't have another air show. And I told him I wish we could get together and put together a good boat race. He went out, did the research, made contact with these people, and made contact with the executive producer of this event. And that's what started this. So I have to give him credit because he was very determined. It took a while to get to the point where we actually realized that we could do it. There was some funds that we had to secure. He went out and solicited these funds to some of the major corporations in the area. And I need to thank all of the sponsors. Wasn't just the bigger corporations. We had some of the local merchants and area businesses that also contributed and sponsored. And so it was just a team effort, all of our department heads working together. It was a collaborative effort. We had help from the county, we had help from different fire departments, the state police was involved, U.S. Coast Guard, Homeland Security. There was so many different entities that were involved in this thing. So it took a lot of planning, a lot of hard work behind the scenes, and I'm very proud of the outcome. You're right, there was a lot of people out there. They were scattered all over our waterfront. From Bart's Cove and the Conservation Club, the Lighthouse, the Point, all the way through the pier, Memorial Park, Wright Park, the beaches, Main Street Beach, Lakefront Boulevard. We had people all over the place. I have not received one negative comment as of yet. So we are already sitting down with these producers to try to see if we can bring it back again next year.
That's great, because I spoke with quite a few of them as well, and they were all just, they could not say enough about how wonderful it was, how much they liked the venue, the track, the lake itself, the people, the welcoming that they felt. So they were all very excited, and the people were just all over the place. And like you, I heard nothing negative. We had our police chief directing traffic. We had our fire chief everywhere. We had so many people on board to make sure this was a success. And I, like you, have to give credit to Hector Rosas. Hector absolutely was phenomenal. He was going in 20 different directions. So, great job and good job having him there. So thank you. And there were a lot of people visiting. Let's talk about some other things that are happening with the city. We have, in addition to that event, and of course our Music on the Pier and all the other festivals that go on a regular basis all summer long, we have some things happening. We have a Phoenix that's coming in. We have the Battery Point Villas. Tell us a little bit about the progress of the villas.
Well, they've already broken ground. They are in the process of demolishing the current buildings that are there now. I believe they're almost done with that demolition piece. So once they started, they're really aggressively moving forward. We're excited about that. These villas are scheduled to be ready to roll, and they're expecting that some of these staff members coming into Athenix will be interested in taking up some of those apartments. So, you know, I think it's a really good thing for the city that we have these villas coming in. It's upper end housing, and it's a risk that they take, but I believe that in the end, it'll be something that's going to be very useful in our city.
Right. And housing is a big thing that's going on now. We really are looking at ways to improve some of our housing and to make sure that we do have some of the higher end housing. And then of course we've got the STEL project that's going along that's going to begin to help that as well. And just the overall appearance of the city is coming along. Tell me about the hotel. We've got the hotel that's supposed to be getting going. What's the status?
Well, we are in the final stages of the negotiations. We're about ready to sign an agreement with them. We have two minor issues that we haven't come to an agreement on as of yet, but I anticipate that probably within a week we should have those issues ironed out and we'll be ready to sign with them. That's
great, because this year with the boat show we had all of our hotel rooms, everything filled. So if we have another hotel, that's going to be really kudos to us. It's going to help us with our bed tax, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. And this would be a Wyndham, the mid-level tier of the Wyndham hotel chain.
That would be wonderful. Now, the other thing that's happening, we have the cold storage warehouse.
Yes, and the cold storage warehouse is moving along. The developers there, Peter Krog, they have an very aggressive timeline. By this time next year, they're looking to have this place built already and in service. So they're already demolishing the Edgewood property there, the building that was up there. We're very excited about that. This is going to bring in some jobs, not only at that site with the cold storage warehouse, but also at Fieldbrook. It's going to increase production over there. So we're very excited about this project. We've worked very hard to get this project here into the city.
And that's going to be good. So now we've got not only the, once the cold storage gets up and moving, we're going to have new employees there, so it's going to be employment opportunities, but also Fieldbrook Foods then will be able to move out some of the things that they're using as storage space to expand. And they have continued to expand over the last couple of years with their employment. So that's really good news. We also have the things that are happening with the smart growth funds, the grant, the central connection. When do we think we might get started on that?
Well, we actually rebid it. The bids that came in when we bid it out were a little bit high, higher than we projected in the budget. So we sat down and I recommended that we go out to rebid. So we've rebid it again, and it did come in a little lower. So it looks like we're going to be moving forward now. We just passed a resolution yesterday. So I anticipate that they'll be breaking ground on that project within the next few weeks.
Wow.
And that would be paving Central Avenue all the way from Lakeshore Drive to the city line in Millard Fillmore.
Well, so that's going to be a huge undertaking. So
yes. That's a major, it's a good thing for the city because Central Avenue, as you know, is that whole corridor heading into the village of Fredonia. And the goal of this project is to connect the city of Dunkirk and the university with the village of Fredonia. So that's what we're trying to do. It's going to include bike lanes in there as well with some striping, and we're going to have some intersections that we're going to improve. So it's a pretty big project.
So these things that are happening, especially the Central Avenue, that is not happening on the backs of the taxpayers. That is happening due to the hard work of our development director, Rebecca Yanis, and yourself and the staff in pulling together in order to get that award. Tell me a little bit about what is the smart growth funds?
Well, again, we submitted a proposal to the state for a downtown revitalization initiative, and this was one small piece. This project here was one of 10 different projects included in that big proposal. What they did was they funded 2 projects. One of them was the Pier project, and the other one was the Central Connection project. So we're excited about that. We have other projects that we've submitted to the state, and we're hoping that we'll be successful with those projects as well.
Right. So our governor really has been of help to us, as well as our New York State Senators, Kathy Young, and all of the other people that you have worked with. So very good. Good for you.
Our state elected officials have been paying attention to the city of Dunkirk in a lot of different ways. The governor's been very good to us. Anytime that I reach out for help and assistance, I'm usually successful. So, I'd like to thank our governor for the help that he gives us.
Well, that's great, and that speaks highly of your ability to negotiate and get things done. Let's talk a little bit about some of the other things that are going on. We have, of course, coming up our 2019 budget. So have you started that process? What are you doing?
Yeah, so I've met with our fiscal affairs officer, Marcia Beach, and I've instructed her to go ahead and send out communication to all department heads to let them know that we're going to be sitting down for budget here very soon, and we want them to look at their department budgets to see where they believe we can make some cuts without affecting the service delivery. So that's how we're starting. It's a process. It's going to take a few months, but we have to keep in mind that the NRG situation as of right now is not getting better. So we are trying to prepare for the worst case scenario.
So it's a real fine line then of talking about needs and wants and what we can do and what we can't do and what we have to do.
Right.
So that's really critical. So the grants and the funding that we get to help us with our fiscal affairs, if you will, those things are important. So
Absolutely.
So that's good. So that's a good thing. We have some other things that's going on. We've had certainly our parks. We have to talk about our parks. Our parks are phenomenal. When you go to Point Gratiot or to Wright Beach, Wright Park, and all the different things, there is just so much going on, and they are so much more beautiful than they have been. And a lot of that has to do with certainly the reach out for the grants, but we had New York State Senator Kathy Young who helped with the grants for Point Gratiot. We received grants and sponsorships for Wright Park. Those things are just amazing. And with our special events coordinator, Hector Rosas, with our music on the pier and our music in the park, Memorial Park. I have to tell you a story, if I may. I was with some people Monday evening, and they could not say enough about Dunkirk and what's going on from Dunkirk. And these are Fredonia residents. And they were saying how they come here for their entertainment. They come for music on the pier. They came for the beach bash. They came for the boat race. They just cannot say enough about what is going on with this city and the positive energy that has just continues to bubble up. That speaks very highly of you, and they spoke very highly of you, and they want you. And I told them we're keeping you. But there's so much going on in the city of Dunkirk. How do you keep up with it?
Well, we're keeping busy. We have some staff members that are really working. They put in their time. I have department heads who put in their time. I was very proud to see, our DPW director, Randy Woodbury, out this weekend. He worked the whole weekend, double shift. Same thing with our police chief, David Ortolano, and our fire chief, Michael Edwards. All of them, I saw them all working out there. These are things they didn't have to do, and they did it. I was very proud, and I'm thankful. And that same mindset filters down to their staff, their supervisors, and their frontline staff, which is why I have to really publicly thank all of them. I was very proud to be the mayor. I received many compliments. My office has been receiving calls from people, some of them city residents, some of them people from out of town who have been calling just to thank us and compliment us on a job well done. And again, none of that could happen if we're not working together. So, I'm just very proud of the fact that they were able to do that, and I didn't ask for them to come out and work all them hours that they worked. That came from them.
Well, the team, every team has to have a leader, and so the leadership will dictate what that team is going to do. So, I know that you may appear, you may be very modest here, but certainly a lot of that is due to you and what you have done. We also have coming up the Wright Park official ribbon cutting on August 31st. I think that's on Friday, August 31st at 3 o'clock. Who all is invited to that?
Well, that's open to the public. We want to put it out there that August 31st, it's a Friday at 3 p.m. We will be at Wright Park for an official ribbon cutting. We're finally at the point where all the little cosmetic things are pretty much done. And, we'd like to showcase it, and we want everybody to come out for that official ribbon cutting.
Because and at Wright Park, of course, we have the famous splash pad that everybody loves. The pickleball courts, you were out there playing pickleball.
I did go out there Saturday, and I think I'm going to take up pickleball. It was a lot of fun. My wife and I were both there together, and we played together, and we had some fun. The pickleball courts look great. People that are using it are very happy. I think that's going to be a really hot spot in that park. But the hottest spot is the splash pad. The kids are there and they love it. The parents are there watching their kids, and it looks like everybody's having a lot of fun there. I had Mayor Sam Teresi out of Jamestown come out and visit me for lunch. We had a meeting, and he asked me to take him to the splash pad. He wanted to see it because he's heard so much about it. And I took him out there, and he saw it. He really liked it, and I think you may see one coming to Jamestown soon.
Oh, well, that would be great. I'm sure that you and Mayor Teresi just really wanted to, spray that fish on each other, which is what I want to do. I want to be 5 so I can spray that fish, So we talk about teamwork, and we talk about how the communication throughout the city what's been transpiring with that. One of the things that we did early on this year, we began to do some leadership and management training with certainly you and your cabinet, with the frontline supervisors, with the supervisors and the frontline staff, to talk about open communications, to talk about how can we sit down, how can we make things better. And you have continued that process. You've now had your second bi-monthly meeting with our frontline people, with our first line supervisors. You've been meeting regularly with your cabinet. Tell me a little bit, how do you think that's going? Have we opened some lines? Do you think things are getting better?
I think things are getting better. Some of the staff have told me that they've never had regular meetings like that with the mayor. And I want them to feel that they can come to me with any issues. So, I've been meeting with the mid-level supervisors as well as our frontline staff. And I think it's working out well. Communication is beginning to get better. There was a big communication gap in city government. And we're trying to address that. And this is part of that process. So, I think it's going well. We're going to be meeting bi-monthly and if need be, even more.
Well, that's good, and because people want to be heard. And that's the biggest thing, is that sometimes the first thing they say is all the negative because they just want to get it out of the way. But sometimes we have to work through that. So good job. So I'm sure that hopefully things will continue to get better and to improve. What else is going on that we haven't talked about? Is there anything special that you feel like that the residents might be interested in or might want to know or need to know?
Well, we're changing things around the way we're functioning. We're trying to be more efficient. When I came on, we had several of our city facilities that have been neglected over the years. We went to the fire department. We've actually put some roofs on many of our buildings now, and the fire department was one of those. We did some work inside. We did some painting and things like that. We went to the Historical Society, and that museum, that building there still needs some upgrades, and we're working on that. I put together a what I call the Mayor's Impact Team, which is just staff members that we've hired, that we look at their files and they have other credentials that they can, that we can use, instead of contracting some of these things out to a private contractor where it costs city taxpayers more money. We can use our guys that they're already on our payroll to use some of these things, and those are the type of things that we're doing now. So we made improvements at the fire department. Our firefighters there are pretty happy with that. The morale has improved there. This year we did some work at the police department, and it's improved morale there too. So at the DPW streets department, in year one, we did some improvements there, and it improved the morale of the guys there too. So these are some of the things that we're doing that's different, and it's saving city taxpayers money while giving us an opportunity to provide a better service delivery.
And it's also good for the employee, who can sometimes, show some of their other talents as well. The water treatment plant and the wastewater treatment plant, those things are really going great guns right now. Give me a little update on what's happening in those two plants.
Well, our water treatment plant is the bigger of the two projects. That plant, when we're done with that project, it'll have cost city taxpayers approximately $23 million. But what it did is it brings us to a point where we will have one of the top-notch water filtration plants in the region. We're about to take on more customers with the North County Water District, and we'll be ready for that when that time comes. We expect it to be soon, before the end of this year even. So our project should be 100% completed before winter. So we're very proud of that. We got to remember that this project started back in 2009.
Now, you mentioned that it's going to cost the taxpayers $23 million, but a lot of that is coming through state funding. Is that not correct?
Yes, when I came on, we submitted again another grant proposal. I actually sent our DPW director to a meeting out in Rochester, and with some of the state elected officials there, and we were able to secure a grant in the amount of $2.5 million for that project, which was helpful. And the rest of those funds, we actually were able to obtain a interest-free loan payable over 30 years, which meant that we really didn't have to raise the rates as much as we thought we would. And that's the goal. The goal is to try to hold the line on our rates to our residents, and we found a way to do that.
So, and that's been happening right along, that whenever there's an opportunity to reach out and to bring in some additional funding that doesn't cause an immediate impact to our taxpayers, you have done that, which is something that has not always been the case. Tell me about the wastewater treatment plant.
Well, that project there is a $15 million project, and it's the same deal that we got for the other plant. We were able to secure $2.5 million grant, as well as interest-free loan for the rest of the project. What that project will do is to put the city in a position where we can actually take in more at our plant with future development coming to the city. Where the plant was now, we were almost maxed out. So now we were able to bring in more waste, which brings in more revenue to the city.
So now Athenix, of course, has impacted this.
Absolutely.
Correct? Because
of Athenix coming on, we felt that it was better to stay ahead of the curve and go ahead and make this upgrade. Some of this project is repairs that were desperately needed over there. Our bar screen were not functioning, so that's now repaired. And the upgrades again were needed so we could take more waste. Athenix is one of those, but we anticipate, at least we're hoping, that more industry will begin to come in.
Okay, so certainly, so we're doing upgrades, we're making things better for everyone. I've heard so many positive comments about the big blue water tower with the city logo on it. I mean, I think that's just phenomenal. You can see it from a distance, and that's really great. So aesthetically, it's looking better as well.
And we are, the older tower that's still up is going to be coming down probably within the next few weeks, next couple weeks.
Okay, great. And one of the goals for City Speaks is to go to the water treatment plant and actually do a walkthrough. So hopefully we're going to get that out of the way next week. So that'll be fun, so the people can actually see what goes on there.
Absolutely.
So everything won't just be in the studio. So that's going to be a big thing. And it's important. People want to know. They're asking questions about it. So those things are happening. Of all this going on, there is so much, and we are all so busy, and you are just, you've got to be morning to night. But with everything, with the development, with the construction, with everything that's happening in the city, you know, I personally, as a resident and a taxpayer, could not be more proud, and I'm certainly, you must feel the same way. And this was certainly evident this past weekend and every weekend. So summer's almost over. We're almost toward the end, and we have, what, 2 more Music on the Piers left to go. You'll be there for both of those,
Absolutely.
Right? Welcoming all the people. And then we have, after that, we have in September, we have a family picnic.
Picnic in the park over at the Point. We do that now annually, and it's a pretty good event. We get hundreds of kids. You know, parents bring their kids there. We last year, I believe, we gave out over 600 hot dogs and hamburgers. So it's a good event, and it's family oriented.
Right, and I believe that's going to be Saturday, September the 8th, for that event. So
Yes.
that's going to be taking place. People need to come out and bring their kids and their families and enjoy that. And I think our special events coordinator is the one who's going to be there flipping the burgers.
Probably.
Yeah. He's usually around. Is there anything else that we haven't talked about? We've given, you know, it just seems like there's so much happening in this city, from the Central Connection to the pier to the Memorial Park and the Point Gratiot and everything else that's going on. City Hall is very busy right now. We have a lot going on there as well. So it's like there's always people buzzing around. And then of course we've got schools getting ready to start with our kids. So what else are you doing to prepare for this upcoming fall season?
Well, currently we have our DPW Streets Department is doing the crosswalk, the school crossings in all of our schools. Those are being restriped. And, you know, we usually do a press release. Our police chief puts out a press release for back to school safety. And, you know, we're just ready to do the things that we need to do to be ready for school opening. But I do want to say that one of the things that I want our residents to know is our Access channel is available for programming. This show is something that's growing. It's getting popular. People are watching it, which is a good thing. But we can do more programming, and that's the goal here, is to do more programming locally. And that's what I would like to see, and I appreciate all the effort, the time and effort that you put in to making this show the successful show that it is.
Oh, well, thank you very much. And we will have representatives from Athenix on. They have asked to be on, as well as our county legislator. We have county legislators who are going to be coming on. Our county executive, George Barillo, wants to come on. So sure, we're going to be having people around, and people can watch City Speaks. Go to YouTube, DunkirkAccess.com. You can watch it anytime. It's now twice a day on Spectrum 1301, 3 o'clock in the afternoon and 10 o'clock at night, daily. So you can catch those shows. If you have questions, if you have concerns, if you have comments, whether it's what's going on or what's happening or what you like or don't like, send them to me. We'll address them on the air. We'll make sure we get results for you. I'll make sure you have your answers. So let us know what's going on. And Mayor, thank you so much. I really appreciate you coming on, and we'll try to do it. I don't know if you have time monthly as it's been requested, but we'll try to do you at least every couple of months and more often as needed. Okay? Thank you. And thank you for watching City Speaks.